Can you see yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that cool?
How is it so cool if you can see yourself? No, it's because it can flip back.
We're trying out the camera that Carlo got me for Christmas, which I have not used at all. And hopefully we're actually recording something. Today is the 6th of July, I think. And we haven't vlogged in a really long time. I think it's been 6 or 7 months. Our last vlog was at Christmas time, and it has been a little over 3 months since our youngest daughter, Saoirse, was stillborn. And today we are gonna vlog again. So I honestly just didn't really know how, I didn't know how to start this again. I knew that I wanted to continue vlogging because we had been doing it really consistently before we found out about her heart and that she wasn't gonna survive. But after, I just couldn't do it and we just had to stop. And after she died, I just needed some time, a lot of time, to figure out how to kind of live life again now that this has happened. And I just didn't know how do you come back from that? How do you leave off with a happy Christmas vlog and come back and say our baby has died? So after thinking about it a lot, I have decided that we just have to do it. We just have to do it. And so today the sun is shining for the first time in like 2 weeks. It has been raining non-stop here, and we are just going to take you around on our day a little bit, and I'm gonna sit you down and just tell you the story of what happened with Saoirse and her stillbirth. Good morning. Come on, it's your favorite. Is it yummy? Get them, you better pick them up. just put them there.
I'll let them dry.
The sun has gone away again, and now we're back to the rain. Okay, I've had a shower. People have gotten dressed. Shiloh has her hearers in. Do you want to show your sparkly hearing aids? They look good. And these guys are playing a game with Papa.
He was paying you.
No, wait, sit down, man. Sit.
He was paying you.
How much are you paying me, Noah?
So a green one?
Okay, Carlo has taken the kids to the park very kindly, and so now is my window of opportunity to sit down and kind of tell you about Saoirse's birth and my experience during her pregnancy. But I wanted to show you guys something that's really special to me. My aunt sent me this beautiful prism. She had a little girl named Hope who was stillborn many years ago, and she was just a really big support to me during my pregnancy. She knew everything that was going on, and she said that when Hope was stillborn, she bought a little prism and hung it up in her window, and every time the light would shine through and cast rainbows all over the walls, she would remember her little life. And she wanted to send something for baby Saoirse as well, and it was really special because it got here actually the day before we found out that her heart had stopped. So that's just something really special, and it hangs in my window now, and every time we see the light we remember her. So I wanted to show you guys that. Okay, now that it is a little quieter, I wanted to sit down and share with you guys our daughter Saoirse's story. So if you are new to our channel, my husband Carlo and I have 6 children. We have 1 boy and 5 girls, and we lost a baby at around 12 weeks in between our 5th and 6th child. Last summer, we found out that we were expecting another baby, and it wasn't planned, but we were really excited. Our kids were over the moon, bouncing off the walls. My son, who is 13 now, was crying because he was so excited. So we were very happy to welcome a new little person into our family and very excited about baby number 7. And we were also vlogging a lot at the time. You can actually go back and see all the videos where we talked about baby Saoirse. So the beginning of my pregnancy was very normal for me. I was very, very sick and very exhausted. But apart from that, we were blissfully unaware that anything was wrong. And it wasn't until our 20-week ultrasound, which is the anatomy scan where they look at all of the structures of the baby in detail. They look at all the organs and the major bones. We didn't know until that point that there was anything wrong. So our 20-week ultrasound scan was booked for the 27th of December. So we had Christmas, and we actually filmed some of that day, and it was really fun. And then we were very excited because we had this ultrasound to look forward to, and then on the 28th of December is my husband Carlo's birthday. So it felt like we had all of these fun things right in a row in the space of just a few days. So on the 27th, we went to our scan, and initially everything looked really good. We got to see all of our baby, and we found out that we were having another little girl, which at the time was just really funny for us because we already have 5 girls. So we found out we were having a 6th baby girl, and it wasn't until the very end of the scan that we realized anything was wrong. When the ultrasound technician started to scan her heart, I, after having quite a few children, straight away thought that something just didn't look right, and I dismissed it from my mind really quickly and thought, I don't know what I'm seeing, I'm not trained for this. But when she started scanning her heart, she got really quiet, and she told us pretty quickly that there was something wrong with the baby's heart, and we didn't really know what to say. We were both really quiet, and it just sort of really rocked us. I think anytime you're given bad news, it's just something very unexpected. You never think that something like that will happen in your family or to you, and that was very much the case for us. We went in to that scan expecting everything to be fine and never for 1 minute thinking that something would be so wrong. So that scan was on a Friday, and they booked us to come back in on Monday for a more detailed scan. And when we went back on Monday, they told us that it was pretty much as bad as it could possibly be. They told us that our daughter had a heart condition called hypoplastic left heart syndrome, which is a congenital heart defect, and that our daughter's case of it was extraordinarily bad, is what the doctor told me. We were just devastated. And so the next few months were really difficult. We decided to carry on with the pregnancy and just love our daughter as much as we could and for as long as we could. But it was really difficult. We spent quite a few weeks before we told our kids, before we could get up the courage to tell them, because it was just a really difficult thing to talk to them about. How do you go home and tell all your children that the baby that they love and are so excited to meet is going to die? Before that had happened, we had been vlogging really consistently, but I just had to stop. I couldn't do it anymore. I felt like I was just surviving, and it was all I could do to take care of my children that are at home and to love this little baby in my belly that we knew wasn't going to live. Some cases of hypoplastic left heart syndrome, you can have various surgeries that help prolong life. By no means cure it, but in Saoirse's case, her heart was missing so many of the main blood vessels going into it and out of it, and hypoplastic left heart syndrome is basically just a fancy name for having half of a heart, and she had a very severe case of it. So we continued on with the pregnancy and just tried to love her as much as we possibly could. We sang lots of songs very loudly so that she could hear them, and I read to the rest of my children and to her out loud all of the best books that we could think of. We read through the Narnia series for a little while because I knew that she wasn't going to live long, and I just wanted her to hear beautiful things all of the time. And so that's what we did for the next 3 or so months. When I got to about 30 weeks pregnant, I was diagnosed with something called polyhydramnios, which is when you have way too much amniotic fluid. And so at that point I was very, very big, way bigger than I have ever been. And it was really difficult for me to do anything. And the pregnancy was just really hard because in a normal pregnancy, every day that you're getting closer to your due date, you are more excited to meet this little person, and there's just so much anticipation. And my experience was that every day that got closer to my due date was bringing me closer to her dying. And so even though physically the pregnancy itself was really hard, I kind of had this strange war going on in my mind where I was just in so much turmoil and pain that I wanted the pregnancy to be over, but at the same time I was desperate to keep her in there because I knew that she was safe. So at 34 weeks, everything changed. Her movements started to get a lot slower, and so I took myself into the hospital and they confirmed that her heart had stopped. And we knew that that was a possibility, that she wouldn't make it and that we wouldn't get to meet her alive, but the doctors had told me the whole time that everything looked good, and so what we were expecting was that she would be born and would live for a few hours or maybe a few days, and we would have at least a little bit of time with her, but that's not what happened. And in some ways I was so sad not to ever get to see her alive. But in other ways, I was almost relieved that she wouldn't suffer at all, because I was terrified of her being born and me holding her and watching her die in my arms and not being able to do anything about it. So I was thankful that she never had to experience any suffering in the world, that she only knew warmth and love being inside my belly. And so the day that her heart stopped, we booked in to come back that evening for an induction. We came home and we told our children what had happened, and my brother and sister came and looked after them for us. And I won't go into all the details of her birth, but I was in labor with her for 30 hours, which was wildly different from anything that I was used to. I've had a few labors that were under an hour, and so it really caught me off guard. They kept telling me that because I had had so many children before that it would probably go really quickly. But it didn't. It was really, really long and really hard, and I think that my body just wasn't ready to let her go, even though she was already gone. So she was born on March 30th, 2020 at 11 minutes past midnight, and they put her right up on my chest, and she was really, really beautiful, and she looked a lot like my other babies. And Carlo and I just held her for a really long time and cried a lot, obviously. And then the whole next day we got to spend with her, just holding her and praying over her and taking pictures. And then we had to let her go, and we had to leave her there at the hospital. So that is her story, and she is a really important part of our lives. Even though she is not here with us anymore, we are very thankful for the life that she had, even though she only lived it on the inside of my belly. And I'm really thankful that we were able to bury her really close to our house. It's just a 10 or 15 minute walk away, and so we walk up there frequently and put flowers down for her and pray and just talk about her and remember her, and that's really special. So that is her story. Thank you for listening. Now we are getting back to normal life again. It took me a long time. I knew that I needed time to heal and just to process what had happened, and I don't think it's something that you can ever just move on from or get over. It's just sort of something that you carry with you and is now part of our story. So thank you for listening. We are planning to start doing videos again, so if you are interested in hearing about any of the rest of our family life, then you can check back here. Thanks for watching.